a little briefing. So previously we were in Bowman, and we wanted to deliver some cargo. As we were on approach to Bowman Prime, we were approached by this lady in a launch, right? Who was in a hurry to commission the ship to jump off world. She was interested because the ship has a reputation already for being like scoundrels. So she uh, asked us to jump to Faldor, where there is Faldor was previously an interdicted planet with amber zone restriction on it, and it had recently been lifted because the population is primitive, indigenous sophonts, life forms, right? Um, and there seems to be off-world influence. Was it Sword World? There were. She indicated that the intelligence service of the Sword World's Confederacy, which is core ward of our present position, those people were running in and running guns, trying to arm the local indigenous sophonts, maybe in an attempt to get them to rise against the human population, because the planet also has a relatively large human population as compared to the small percentage of the indigenous peoples, right? So this lady is revealed to us. Her name is Ludmila Utskaya, and she is an operative for the Imperium, or at least this is how she has identified herself, right? Like she's intelligence service, and she is running a sort of counter espionage operation here, where she wants to impersonate the gun runner, deal with the locals, and capture the sword worlder, counterpart, intelligence, the enemy, right? The enemy intelligence officer. We managed to sell our cargo. She gave us a timetable that we needed to be there within 250 hours of her having, hired our ship for 60,000 credits, which is pretty good. So we stopped at Bowman Prime, refueled, dumped the cargo that we had, and took on board some cargo, which she is going to use to pass herself off as the sword worlder guns dealer. She gave us this timetable of 250 hours. Because we need both the origin point and the endpoint systems are masked by their red dwarf stars. And so we had to burn hard for the 100 diameter limit in order to enter jump space. And, given that it's a weak jump, she had calculated it, and it was going to be a tight schedule to get there within 250 hours. And she said, if you can get me there 24 hours earlier, that's even better. So we burn hard to the limit. We entered jump space. Javier did the calculations for the astrogation and activated the jump drive, and I managed to get a critical success. And we did this off camera, so there's by post, right? And so we actually managed to jump at precisely 160 hours, which is a good. It's a little less than 7 days, with plenty of time to get there. Except that as we are emerging from jump space and sensors are picking up our positions, we realize that we are actually 150 diameters outside of Faldor, which, if my calculations are correct, comes out to 131,487. No, yeah, 131,487,300 kilometers at 2G's acceleration should have us there in 45 hours, 28 minutes, and 48 seconds.
Oof.
Which, when you add it to the time that we already spent, it comes out to 225 hours or so, giving Ludmilla her 25 hours of preparation time, which she requested. What else? There is a planet that we seem to have jumped out of space close to a planet which has not been surveyed by the Imperial Scout Service. And so there's a question there. Do we want to survey the planet and possibly sell that data, or I don't know. Anything else, Antoine?
This is all. This is
Yes.
very accurate to the current situation. So
Yay!
the ship's telescopes orient. The ship kind of aligns to the ecliptic and gets on its burn, and then the ship's telescopes are free for any use. Now, as far as if there's any objects you want to study, or you want to kind of start cranking on any particular area of inquiry as you're burning.
I don't know how, my concern is that if we take too much time to explore this, to survey this world, we lose the 25-hour window that Ludmilla requested. So I don't know how she feels about. I'll ask. I'll say, well, this is the new estimated time of arrival. It's a total flight time of 225 hours. So this gives 25 hours, beneath your window.
I didn't charter the ship to do sightseeing at a cratered planet. I mean, it is interesting, and I mean, by all means, can we do a flyby? I mean, can we do a high velocity flyby? I mean, I'm novice to this, but I mean, I've heard there's something called a gravity assist.
That is true. We could attempt a slingshot maneuver around the planet, and take the time to do at least a light survey of the planet. I think we have one remaining planetary probe, and if we can fire it, and it'll give us some data, but we can't recover it if we fire it, and I don't know if it gets us the data back. I don't know. Well, it's kind of risky.
If you fire it, I mean, it absolutely can relay data on the order of like a given system. So it's like the Huygens, the little thing that they dropped off of Cassini. It's probably about kind of that level of independent, kind of data collection. So like you wouldn't be able to send it all the way back to Faldor. It probably doesn't have that kind of signal
capacity.
Gain. But you could certainly receive data while you were doing the flyby.
Okay, now as far as the flyby slingshot effect,
that's the real trick here.
Yeah. How would Sam feel about this, as far as comfortable with doing it?
Well, it's as far as saving any amount of time, that's a question for the astrogator. But with this ship's acceleration, the amount of time savings is kind of trivial compared to how much. I mean, the ship's drive. You're thrusting at 2 G's constant the whole way there until you flip. So I mean, how much energy can you steal from a planet compared to
it's
so the rule book is listed as hard, like a TN 10, I believe, to do a slingshot, to kind of to format a profitable slingshot.
I mean, is this going to have anything to do with astrogation before I try to pilot around this sucker?
Oh, it yes, absolutely. So piloting would be a matter of if you wanted to refuel in a gas giant atmosphere.
Yeah.
This has a minimal atmospheric envelope. Something it's just trace gases actually. So everything else is frozen because it's so far out. It's a super Terran world. It has a high enough gravity and a peculiar enough atmosphere that there's a trace gas envelope of neon and argon and inerts and some amount of nitrogen that kind of it's at the threshold between like liquid and gas nitrogen, like Pluto, basically.
Yeah.
But a very, very large, heavy Pluto. As far as its,
So it's not going to
surface
yield that
features.
much product or fuel. But
But
at least we can look at the area. Maybe there's just I want to make sure that area is clear from the sword. What do they call?
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible that they have been refueling here. I mean, as far like Ludmila, on the bridge, it's like it's entirely possible they have refueled here because the Scout Service spy satellites did not really remark upon their traffic. Like the algorithms didn't detect any kind of really intrusive activity. Didn't get flagged, but for an analyst to look at, for live eyeballs until, a couple weeks ago. So you think about this, if they've been up to it for like 3 years, how had they been able to be as secretive as they have?
Yeah, is active.
Because we went back over the data and the operation's been running for at least 3 years. Like we've seen their ships landed in the desert. 3 years ago, I can, and she pulls out her computer and she's like, look right here. 3 years ago, this satellite photograph of the, starship landed in the desert getting offloaded. So, but we only detected it, 4 weeks ago. And we only flagged it. So there must have been some clandestiny with the refueling and their landing.
It's worth a pass, especially if we can send out the probe.
Well, I mean, the belt is icy too, though. So what do we that's the question, is that if the answer is no, they haven't refueled here, if we don't see any marks that they've refueled at this world, then it doesn't really tell us that they haven't refueled in the out system. They could easily be just, there could be mining drones in the belt which are collecting ice asteroids for them. There's a lot of other kind of false negative answers.
And we're going to start somewhere. What do you think, Javier? Just eliminating.
Yeah, it's my biggest concern is not wasting time, right? If I can plot a course, which
let's do a task chain with an easy astrogation to kind of get enough window to have a good, robust scan with the sensors. So the first will be the first part of the task will be easy with astrogation.
So easy astrogation. Okay. All right. So astrogation and education is at total of +2. And easy is a 4. So here we go.
Got pretty solid odds.
That I do. I roll a 9. +2 is 11. -4 is 7. So it counts as a critical, for which gives me a +2 modifier to whatever next check we wind up making.
Sensors will be average. You'll have a window of opportunity to do a scan, which will include the full kind of suite of sensors that are available to the scout.
Nice. Okay. So yeah.
All right. Am I up next as far as piloting around this while you scan?
Yeah. What do we roll next then?
I mean, there's no reason to think that there's really a hazard as far as piloting.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll take that.
It's better. I mean, if with a good plot, right? If the course is plotted well, had I messed up the calculations, I guess you would have been like pull up.
I know. That's what I was with.
So excellent. All right. So then sensors, it's an average check which happens to be 8 or 6. I think average is 8. Right?
It's 8.
Yeah.
It's 8. Yeah, it's the usual number. Trying to remember the names of the difficulty classes, which I don't have yet. But okay, so I have a sensors of 1 plus my education of 1 is +2 plus the additional 2 from the task chain. Yeah. So here we go. It's a total of +4, and that is a 6 plus 4 is 10. So
dang, criticals.
no, it's a 10 out of a difficulty 8.
Okay.
So it's a 2 effect actually.
Sorry, I was
which
thinking.
is pretty good. Yeah.
So, we shift. So I'm going to shift you up 2 from the medium range, which was where we were going to count the flyby, to close.
Mm-hmm.
So you get full visual, thermal, electromagnetic, full data from the radar, altimetry scan, full data from the passive radar lidar, which is to say, like I think emissions, and just kind of getting a sample of the planet's emissions for if there's anything amiss, i.e., radio transmissions that shouldn't be there, and then limited data from the neural activity sensor, which might reveal the presence of some life.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and that's really that was kind of the real question.
Yeah.
Was whether that data would be available.
Cool.
Okay, so
do we have any sensor as far as the what is that one sensor that shows the outline density of the area? I mean, I don't know if it can
the
go
densitometer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which for whatever reason in old-timey traveler world, they thought that would take some really fancy stuff with like a gravitons and stuff, and it's like like we have like 5 satellites in orbit over the Earth that do this. The present day technology. So suffice it to say, yes, you do have some densitometry scale, but not at a level that is gonna actually reveal like if there's a cave system full of factories or something like that.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
So yeah, going over the data is like, and actually processing it will probably to actually get a handle on it will. You'll already have passed the world by the time that you kind of are able to ask questions and understand what you've seen, because of kind of you're bent for leather. Suffice it to say, there's nothing special about it. It has been landed on. There are some kind of marks of some excavation on the ice caps, which indicates that it has been landed on in the past. It's not within the last year. Probably not within the last kind of seasonal cycle of the world, where, its orbit will bring it closer and some of the atmosphere will kind of boil up. So that suggests that, it probably is, it hasn't been landed on in the last, within the window that the smuggling operation started.
Cool.
Neural activity sensor is negative.
So dry hole.
No life. Yeah.
And no ships on the other side, obviously. Otherwise,
you pass the limb of the planet and you see nothing.
Clear. All right, clear skies.
Cool.
All right. Well, we'll go back around and prep for the land. Ding.
All right.
Now, does she want to direct us where?
What's our plan here? Because I think that's Colonel Moondrake's
Yeah,
Moondrake.
So
Moondrake's purview, right? The actual
and
operational thing, and Jeff's, yeah.
We got pretty similar skills in that, so
Cool.
there's not too much of a difference. Yeah.
Well, join me in the mess, gentlemen. I mean, now that we know that we don't have anything lurking at our backs, I am, somewhat at liberty to begin composing some suggestions to what we might do. I see no reason not to seed the reentry pods. Kind of it went just after we flip and burn, or kind of just before. I think there will be a window of opportunity if we can. Do you feel confident about depressurizing the cargo bay and shoving the pods out the back while we're en route?
Yeah.
I feel like we've done something similar.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
While we're en route, you're talking about blowing the hole and letting.
No, it's depressurizing the cargo hold, which the ship should be able to depressurize certain components, right? You don't keep atmosphere in the cargo hold because you're wasting oxygen. Nobody's breathing it, right? So.
Oh, I thought I had already said that. Last game.
It is set up. Yeah.
That's what I was.
All right.
I felt like
but is she asking for us to like put on vac suits and shove it physically out?
She is, yes. I mean, she's yeah.
So, hey, it's a ship crew, man. This is what we do.
Yep. I want to get paid. I don't get paid if we don't do the thing.
So I will. It will require some kind of timing. My computer is capable of kind of setting up when we need to do it and aggregating for the pods. But my reading is that we'll need to jettison them kind of within about 10 minutes or so before flip and burn. Within that window. So it's going to, just before flip and burn when there's a kind of a minimal velocity envelope. They'll be headed for Faldor.
How many do we need to push out the back door?
I've brought 2 myself. They're 2 displacement tons each. So I think that, the mass is something like
but in 0G once
5 metric tons on each of them. Yeah.
If we've just depressurized, we should have little to no gravity in there, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because we'll do it.
It's just getting them going.
Cut thrust, and then yeah.
But we've got 2,
it's about
our
10
guest
tons
has brought
of
2.
thing, right?
Are we bringing it? So we have 10 minutes to do that. Let's see. I think we might need 2 people to do it. 1 for each one to push off.
Yeah, you don't want to get crushed.
So the next question is
also, because the big thing is, if we've got a close time crunch, we need to not only push off, but we also need to get secured for flip and burn. Because I don't know about either of you, but I don't change G's like that. I don't want to be loosey goosey.
And if the gravity is off in the hold, so too is the inertial compensation.
And you'll be rolling at negatives trying to push it.
Yep. And that's not something I like doing, gents. So I think definitely 2-person job at a minimum.
Yeah.
Just so we can get back to safety.
All right. Are there suits?
No. All we have are emergency vac suits, right? That's all we have.
All the paper suits?
Well,
credit paper suits.
I can't afford one myself yet. So the question is, I was always guessing that the things we bought over at Walston before we took off included like basic, because the paper suits are basically like life preservers, right? It's the emergency.
I've got a vac suit.
Oh,
you got a vac suit?
Excellent.
I know we're trying to go.
I'm like, what happened to my vac suit?
Because I could afford the emergency vac suit. So if we didn't get one during the little refurbish that we did in Walston before we get off, I can pay for the. Because I figure it's like life preservers, right? You can't run the ship if you don't have life preservers.
It is regulation that you
So are a
have
lot
to
of
have
things.
one for each person aboard. That said, the Walston Starport wasn't going to cough them up for free.
Okay, so
But
the emergency ones I think are just 200 credits.
the 2,000.
So
If I'm
2,000.
yeah.
oh, 2,000. That's right. Okay, I
2,000.
can cover that. Yeah.
I mean, there are some used ones.
Nah, I'll cover that.
Okay.
Got some stains on the inside.
I mean, I'll cover mine. That's all I can pay. I can't pay for anybody else's, right?
Yeah.
Although
I had that one. Sam had that one initially from with him.
Yeah, I
and Jeff.
thought, yeah.
That's where Jeff got his.
Yep.
We both had one.
so I guess you're down to one worker then. Although I bought, if I buy the emergency one, then I could help.
So,
Yeah, but don't we need you at astrogation?
I mean, does Roy have one?
The course has been plotted, right? So it could just be a timer for Sam to just do the flip and burn, right? Because that's what you do.
I
You
mean,
just
in theory, if you're in there, yeah, we're not going to flip and burn until you're out of it, if that's the case. But if we've got Sam and Jeff, that's 2 people. We can take care of it. Like, that's 2.
Yeah, but I'm the
vaccines.
pilot, man. This is what I'm
okay.
saying.
Just
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
What I'm
yeah,
saying
I
is
can help.
Sam is the one who's pulling
No,
the thing.
don't we-
Somebody could use my
Didn't-
vac suit. I mean, it's one size fits all.
Didn't we pay for an autopilot?
Yeah, it's an auto. I don't know if it-
there is rudimentary autopilot.
Oh, okay.
But
So-
it cannot be relied upon to do anything besides execute the astrogator's course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, but I
so
mean,
I'm
Roy
gonna-
can help push it if he borrows
Yeah, he can have my vac suit. Oh man, the controls.
You
Good.
should, that might be a little loose on you there, Colonel.
Yeah.
You sure?
what-
That's right.
What TL is the vac suit? It is Samuel's vac suit.
Oh, the
What TL is the
level. We
loaner?
picked that up from the first ship we were on.
Oh, okay.
What tech level was that?
No, that's okay. All right, then yes, it has some ability to actually kind of
Modify.
adjust itself. Yes.
Yeah.
It's got pull tabs.
Okay, so who's suited up? And where does the EVA begin? What's the airlock?
I would assume right outside the cargo bay, right? Do we not have that?
Well,
A hallway between the cargo bay and the
Talk about lowering that whole back.
Yeah, because I'm like, yeah.
Well, if you-
I don't think
yeah,
we want
if
to
you-
depressurize a whole.
Yeah, if you scroll up, we did get the new
so
Ah,
floor
okay.
plan,
Oh,
right?
that, okay.
It's on the chat.
Yep,
If you
I got it, I
scroll
got it.
up, yeah.
Cargo
Which
bay,
cargo bay
yeah.
are we pushing out of?
Deck 3.
Deck 3,
Cargo
yeah.
bay. It's got to be lowered. That's what's dangerous about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is
Flash the main airlock.
fuel processor 3?
Yeah, but it would
Oh,
since it's
thanks.
pressurized, right? It'd be opening the
But how in the heck are we going to get in there? Because we don't have a
internal airlock.
internal airlock, do we? That's what I'm saying.
Well, no. If we get
Maybe.
down into, do we have the crawl space depressurized too? Because if we don't have the crawl space is not depressurized, we could use that. We could use the wherever our lift is down into the crawl space, or is that no? That's never mind.
Yeah, but
Can
there's
I want to call them a turbo lift, but can we use those as?
It
Oh.
shut out before we open
Yeah.
that thing, all of us.
I think I follow what
Okay.
you're saying.
You're picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, I think there's there's
Suck
like
all that oxygen out.
there's a crawl space between the cargo bay and the.
Well, yeah, I see that crawl space, but I think that might be a crawl space to get to the landing gear bay,
yeah, that's what it is.
as opposed to this, which appears to be the lift.
Yeah, it's just a stairwell, with
Oh,
rungs and whatnot. Yeah.
Oh, is it? So would that be sealed from deck to deck?
There's an iris valve that's in the floors and ceilings.
Cool. So if we have iris valve, then we have depressurization.
It's like
No, it's just an iris valve.
It's a
like
single.
patch.
Like there's
That's-
no. There's it's
Yeah,
not.
there's no-
There's not a double.
You can't depressurize it. It can't cycle
Mhm.
out. You open that
Oh.
up, we're screwed.
So I guess you have to go out the
They're
airlock.
outside.
You could go out the air raft bay. You go out the
Yeah.
air raft bay and then come back in.
Oh, that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as much. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to. But
Yeah,
then
you-
where's the?
Yeah, it's area 16.
Area
is
bay
the-
is 16.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So
I guess
go
we're
out
gonna
that-
have to.
Yeah.
We don't.
Uh,
I don't think we're gonna have an option.
Yeah, either
Yeah.
that or the utility bay, one of the two. But
All
I
right.
mean, are
So
is that a sufficient airlock though to get out?
for the air raft bay,
I mean, you go in
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I mean, it's
yeah,
yes.
there's seals there.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that's also this vessel is designed so that there can be a mining drone that goes in there. I'm guessing that's probably where the probe drones launch from actually, and where the probe magazine is probably like hanging from the ceiling of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, they can exit out there, and I can drop the cargo bay from the bridge on deck 3.
So I think
Yep.
that we've reasoned this out, that it sounds like the EVA in totality to get to the point where you're ready to shove the stuff out is an average vac suit roll. It sounds like.
Okay. Are we all doing this? All three of us, or just the Marines?
I think just the Marines on this one.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
we
for
got
it.
Yeah, just make sure your comms are working.
I rolled
Okay.
already, so I'm good tonight.
Good luck, guys.
Okay. So we're rolling. What are we rolling against? Sorry. Are we using dex?
average.
Average
It will be Dex, yeah. So
Now,
vac
is there
suit-
any leadership role you can do, Roy, on this? I don't know.
No,
Yeah, I know.
leadership's for combat.
people have
Okay.
to have
Trying to
a
squeeze
have a
anything.
misplaced scrotum in order to be instructed where to find it.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, mine's a straight roll. I've got no bonuses or anything.
Yeah, Dex and vac suit.
He's gonna get beat up so much
Okay,
out
so
there.
I
His
rolled-
combat.
I'll have +1 on
I
back.
rolled 8 on the nose.
Nice.
I got 10 + 1 is 11.
Nice.
Good.
Okay. So with that in mind, you kind of arrive in the cargo bay, able to kind of start affecting this. The strength, the operation, there is a strength ability roll, or athletics and strength, to kind of affect this without getting yourself into trouble. I mean, it's a test of whether anything arises. And that is also average.
All right, roll.
I have +2 from the athletics alone.
Okay, I'm
11.
0.
9 plus 2.
From the athletics. 4.
Ouch.
Okay. The pod is unmoored. Maynard is kind of halfway through unmooring is the pod, and so the webbing straps are off of it, and you're kind of getting to the point where you're going to start kind of hauling on it, with your magnetic boots, and kind of just pushing it out the cargo bay, and it starts to spin on you.
Ooh.
starts to spin on you, and it collides with the Colonel's pod.
Fuck. Fuck.
And they kind of hit each other.
Looking out, Colonel.
And they're looking they're kind of chaotically drifting around in the cargo bay. One of them hits the sea. I mean, there's you didn't put much inertia. Neither of you put much inertia into them. But now they're just kind of rolling around like slow motion dice. And they each weigh several thousand kilograms.
It's not good. Yeah.
What do you got, Colonel? Because this looks like this could be bad.
Right, saying this over the comms, I'm hearing it. I think we got a situation.
Okay, and as you discuss this, they tumble out. They're not connected to the ship. I mean, the ship's still thrusting before slip and burn, and so they just kind of roll their way out the back, haphazard style. And and one of them wings the thruster and kind of gets singed.
Singed, yeah, scorched.
Javier's not gonna like that.
The cargo got cinched, right? At least it didn't knock out the thruster. Okay, so it's not that bad.
No, it's just
it's Ludmilla is the one that's going to be very pleased that her cargo got.
All right, guys.
The cargo got cinched. Oh, that's cosmetic. That's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. So the pods roll like dice out of the back of the airlock, and then one of them just kind of clips one of the drive plumes. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. All right. You guys all right back there?
We got the job done. He kind of slapped Maynard's shoulder. Got the job done.
All right. Tell me when you're clear of the hangar bay, and I'll shut it. Get back in here.
Oh, you're gonna shut it down and repressurize?
Whenever you're in, you need to go back through the other area.
So yeah, I mean, the question is, do you want to EVA back across the hull?
No.
Yeah, I don't like my.
No, I think he should just shut the damn thing.
All right. You want me to shut it?
Shut down and
repressurize. Okay. We could always repressurize. That's okay.
So 20 minutes later, the ship is flipped and burned, and everybody's out of their stinky football equipment. And
oh god, words shouldn't have a smell. But that word invoked a smell.
That's what a spacesuit smells like.
Oh, that takes me back.
Son, you did good. You could have made that suit smell worse. You didn't.
You ain't wrong, sir. You ain't wrong.
You did good.
So both the pods end up responding on the bridge, and kind of register and are controlled as missiles, slave to the bridge. The bridge got fire control. The one that's damaged is it has a red flag, like may not be relied upon to reliably execute a re-entry burn.
Oh well.
All right. So 24 hours or so until orbital insertion. And Ludmilla is content to try and go through with the plan of kind of once the ship is down, considering ordering the pods to re-enter. So the pods are going to kind of put themselves into a elliptical orbit,
Just geosynchronous over the side or something.
Not exactly.
Okay.
Not exactly. But suffice it to say, the question is, I think one of like, where do y'all want to try and land? There is a
Yeah, that's what I was
class
gonna
E
ask.
starport, which it does come on the wave at about 8 hours out. It does start kind of offering its advisories about how the world of Faldor has an incredibly, parts per 100,000 of fungal spores on average, sometimes approaching parts per 10,000 in its atmosphere. And during certain climactic events, there is a spore fall, which you must be wary of, which includes accumulation, which can and will clog exposed equipment and obscure viewports and sensors. Be advised, the port does not have. The port lacks fuel. Rather, the port will not sell you fuel. There is a human settlement around the port, and there's a dispersed human. There's ice miners, and there's a kind of a relatively robust kind of collection of peat mining, kind of rudimentary hydrocarbon miners. The human population is kind of dispersed like that, but they all have their own landing platforms, or or service ships by water landing that ships call and are loaded by water landing. So a ship landing dirt side is generally not anticipated. And in fact, the starport is kind of built to be as isolated as possible from the Otari population, owing to some prior incidents.
Okay, so this
Is
one.
there any way we can? Is there any way we can land this bird within striking distance of our planned assault spot?
Yeah, that's what I had in mind, a water landing close to where we needed to go. But like he's saying, that it's a purpose that they put this 8 hours out, the starport, for some reason. And we need to ask her what's up with that. What did she know? Where does she recommend landing?
Well, she did recommend shutting off the transponder, right? So at least.
Which means there's going to be an illicit landing.
Yeah, she probably don't want to. We are flying the Achilles, which is associated with that rowdy bunch.
That's true.
We don't, and they haven't changed the transponder yet, so we're still seen as them. We don't. I would rather not be around a population if that's.
I think the question is if the transponder is on when we come within range where the starport will query the transponder for flight data.
Yeah.
I think the question is one of when we don't land at the starport after the two-way communication with the transponder. That will be if there's any informant at the starport that will be, and that will announce that we have arrived at Faldor but didn't land at the starport. So if you want to land, if you want to land at the starport,
Well, if somebody's at the starport, it could be some kind of, like you say, the informant for the sword. What is that? The Sword Coast?
Sword
World.
Sorry.
Sword Coast.
Slipping into
the misbegotten realm.
Nice.
Oh, jeez.
Don't cross the street. Don't cross the street.
Is something you guys what we want to do? I mean,
Roy votes for trying for a ground landing or water landing closer to strike point,
to the site,
undetected by the.
So obscured, maybe some swamp area if that is by the site. So I agree.
So Javier, that the main question about this, or rather the kind of, is the landing without kind of having a strong landing site that is not, the ship's not going to sink into, like a very certain ship on Dagobah, is it is a matter of kind of doing like a medium low altitude flyby with sensors to try and pick out a spot that's a green.
Okay. So we could do that. Yeah.
And you said it's about 24 hours to landing.
Yeah, y'all are 24 hours out after having shoved out the pods.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
So is that what we're going to do? We're just going to keep the transponder off and then just do an illicit landing, or are we turning the transponder on? Guys, what do you think?
I mean,
I gave you my vote.
Yeah, we're clear with that. Either way, if we're going to go for the illicit landing, let's not even send a transponder so they don't know what to expect.
Yeah, let it be a mystery to them.
Okay,
on the other hand, if we send it, they have no reason to know what we're here for. So, I mean, it's either way.
Right.
Colonel just wants to be closer to the strike point.
Yeah, they'll just figure we landed somewhere else. I mean, I guess the standard procedure is for the main starboard to know where every ship is going to land, even if it goes to a private landing.
So the procedure is kind of typically that the starport just says it sees the transponder and it says, "Hey, who are you?" And kind of logs you in its traffic control system. If there's a higher law level, then it may ask you to request a flight plan and so on. And like, are you gonna land at the starport, etc.
I mean, when you have somebody with TSA.
I mean, I'll ask Ludmilla. Is it? Oh well, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would think because she's trying.
Here's what I will tell you. I mean, the humans maintain an uneasy peace with the Otari, the miners, and the oil guys, and the question is a matter of, there's a reason they have these regulations in general is that they don't want to end up in a situation where they are in another Boer war, another Zulu, kind of confrontation. And so they don't want random ships kind of bringing that upon them. So they just give the Otari a wide berth. So if they see you,
they'll probably turn a blind eye.
No, I don't think they will. That's the thing. If we're not going to land, are they going to care if we report ourselves and don't land? Because that might not raise suspicions. But if the transponder is off and we never answer, that's suspicious from the get-go, right? Because, this ship doesn't have a transponder code. That's suspicious. Are they smugglers? Are they pirates? Are they coming to invade? That's what the traffic control is going to be thinking if there's no transponder code. Versus, this ship didn't land where we thought it was going to land, but then we might have to come up with some sort of excuse for that.
Yeah, if this is Imperial and the Otari are kind of separate from them, then if we don't need to draw undue attention from the Imperials, from the human settlement, I'm guessing that the humans are operating that starport. Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
And so if we can get through their red tape and get a free thing, then we can go deal with the Atari. So I see where you're going with that. That's fine with me. It is for everybody else. So get it a starport or what?
Or we could just do, just run in there, land, do our thing, and take off, and burn.
Yeah, just check in,
burn out, and go. Yeah.
I mean, the ship is much faster than your grab car crossing the ocean. So
that's true. Yeah,
I'm amenable to this.
Screw it. Let's go. No transponder. We're going in hot.
All right. Let's go in hot, then.
All right. So with that in mind, looking at the a map, which I now need to discover where I've put that.
Hey, this is a nice map.
Jeff, we should sit and pour over these maps that the lady provided. See if we can come up with the best tactical approach. And basically, what I'd like to do is we should combine to roll a tactics check.
Okay.
To see if we can get some advantage when planning because we've studied the terrain and planned all the approaches. Maybe that can give us an advantage when we are on planet side.
Oh, that's a good idea. Study the map, see if you can pick it up before we get there. That's
right.
Excellent.
Yeah, for the library.
Maybe we can get a bonus on our tactics before combat or something.
All right. So indeed. So the goal at the moment is to find a spot close to the where the smugglers land their ship.
The common place, right? The place that was like the easiest way to strike, at least from Lumilla's suggestion, was when they were in the campsite from which they could take one of two routes.
Yes.
So Roy's suggestion was to hit them while they're tired making that camp.
Right after the
dusk attack instead of a dawn attack.
Yeah.
And are the smugglers there already, or?
So this is a question of like, do you want to remain on orbit, and kind of pour over the sunside hemisphere before going down?
Yeah, we'll need to scout to see if they're there.
Yeah, because there is a scout service spy satellite.
Ooh.
But
yeah,
no, there's no but. I mean,
Ludmilla
is able to actually downlink. Yeah, she's able to just So she can downlink all that data so that you don't have to sit up there and photograph.
Yeah. That'd be good, because then we know if they haven't arrived, then we need to land a ship. We need to camouflage it some way.
Right.
If they have already landed, then we just need to come in kind of far away and then drop low, close to the ground to approach, stuff like that. Yeah.
I can tell you that they are not here.
Okay.
Because they can't be here. I mean, their ship does not have the jump drive to be here for another. So we had 24 hours with my 250 hour budget, and then we have whatever you earned us.
25 hours more. So
so you have 49 hours before it's even possible for them to arrive.
Good.
Plus 1 day of travel, because we want to hit them at
the.
So we got 1 day to do this. All right.
I mean, just as an aside, if you guys think it's better to hit them at the landing site, I think that we know where that camp is, and they're not going to have their ship, right? They're not going to have turrets available. That's why I was thinking that.
That's very true.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Okay, so
you did make Colonel for a reason.
All right, so going into atmosphere, it sounds like there's no strong reason to remain on orbit.
No.
Okay.
Correct.
So going into atmosphere, target landing zone is the starport.
No, it's near the smuggler's compound, right, Jose? But not too close, because we want some distance between us.
Is it secondary after we check in? Because we haven't checked in yet.
No, we didn't. We're not going to activate the transponder, so we're just going in. And,
Okay, all right. I'm just playing.
Yeah, we want it to be in striking distance of their camp, right? They have a landing spot, and from that landing spot, this is what we got from the briefing, right? They go to a camp. And that camp, they'll go either to the Queen or to the compound,
or to their
and we don't
yes, yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And there's that, and so it's a 2-day hike. Middle between the first and second day, they camp. So they're out in the open with their vehicles. I don't know if they have tents, what they do.
Okay.
And that's where I
After
want
they
to
travel,
attack them.
we get them at the camp after they're already tired. Then assume they're guys and go meet the queen or whatever.
Right, and
Whatever she has up her sleeve.
we don't know where. And Ludmila said that there's no way to tell if they're gonna go to the compound or to the queen. So
We
hitting
know
them at
that's the
camp
midway
is the
point.
right place.
Excellent.
All right.
That sounds like a good idea.
So you say a striking distance, land nearby, camouflage
So we
it,
want- Exactly.
and use the
As
turret.
best we can.
Well, no, we don't.
No, we'll
No,
take the
no.
grav car, right, Jose?
Right, we'll take the grav car. We'll land a few clicks away. Take the grav car and try to set up an ambush. Because, and that's part of what we want to do with the tactics. Study the map and see if we can find a good ambush site.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things we have to try and do is to take this weapons merchant alive. That's one of the.
That's true. That's true.
And Ludmila asks, is the low berth working on your ship?
We don't have low berths in this ship.
Oh, at all? Oh.
No.
Oh.
She's wanting to take some of them off planet. Yeah.
Okay. Well, suffice it to say, then here's some fast. 2 doses of fast to sedate the prisoner, and we'll have to content ourselves with that.
Yeah.
Or either we could take some low bursts off their ship if we find it. But anyway, take that when it comes.
So I think the question is now a matter of finding a landing site close enough to the campsite, if I understand.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. That is a matter of a sensors roll, which should should start out at kind of difficulty 6, which I think it might be called easy, but
It's 6. That's computers. Right?
Yeah, I got a 1 on sensors for that. Do you have?
Well, I got electronics. I got 1 on electronics, which is computers, right?
Okay, but you put it on computers. I put it on sensors.
So I guess he could give you a boon with his 0 skill, right?
I actually got a 1 on it, so.
well,
Yeah, but when you get a 1, you need to pick a specialty, and every other use is a 0.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Aggro avoidance.
So okay, so can I get a boon for that?
yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. So I got a +1 for that and a +1 for education. That would be a +2. And a boom. And it's against the 6.
Okay.
So here we go.
The effect will be the number of landing sites that are viable within distance.
Okay, so it's a good thing that we got the boon because I rolled a 6, a 4, and a 1. So now it's a 10 plus 2 is 12 minus 6 is 6. So that is actually a pretty good
6.
roll. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is the I'm going to roll 1d6 minus 1 for the number of It's going to be I'm rolling completely like wildly whether there are any landing sites that are obscured line of sight wise by terrain.
Yeah. Cool.
That have like some amount of shelter. I rolled a 1, so there are 0.
Okay.
That you found. Best option as far as concealability is there's some kind of low humpback dunes. There are sandstone humpbacks that accumulate sand.
Mm-hmm.
And you could maybe kind of blend in with those. best, as far as least risky landing site is some bare rock that is this on a lava dome, where the ship's white hull would kind of be against gray volcanic basalt.
All right. Where should I set this bird down?
I don't know. Maybe we should go for the less risky landing, seeing as our pilot is not too confident in his own piloting abilities. So,
That makes sense.
and take your time landing.
Yeah,
so we
take
get
my
a
time
plus
landing
2
and
on
reduce
that. Yeah,
difficulty.
yeah, please. Yes.
Yeah, I'll do that. We're gonna come in hot and slow down and drop it low. All right, and there's no boot I can get on this, obviously. Hopefully not a bane. All right.
No,
So if you increase the time, you get a plus 2 dice modifier to the roll, because you have a -1 normally, right? 0 for piloting and -1 for dexterity.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've actually got 1 on the pilot, but not.
Do you have a 1 on the skill for piloting?
Yeah, but it was. Hold on.
Yeah, so if it's a 1 on the skill, and it's a -1 for your ability, is a flat 0. Plus 2 for taking extra time, you're rolling at plus 2, which is pretty good.
Now, I'm thinking piloting had specialties, right?
yeah, you're in the clear for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we looked at that before.
Okay. All right.
So then you'll be rolling at plus 2.
Oh my God, that was 5 total. I rolled a 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay, well, let's
That's
just go
negative.
ahead and take a look at that.
Good God.
just we need to send buckets of dice to Dell's home.
I've told him to
Yeah, it's almost my birthday. So
I've told him to
Yeah.
light his barbecue and melt the freaking dice, but he doesn't listen.
We've been playing for like a year almost, and the
Same
dice haven't improved. Yes. Dell rolled a 3, Jim, on the dice, and we've been trying to get him to destroy those dice since like last summer, but
Del,
it
Del,
hasn't
Del,
worked.
Del,
I
Del
can
will
send
be
you,
like-
I have extras. I can send you something.
So
Dice I haven't even touched yet. Like
I
do it.
I think this is fun. Says the GM.
It's gonna be fun for the referee.
All right.
Oh, complete side note: dice addiction, hereditary.
Oh,
I'm so confused.
With
I swear I saw landing operations in the companion, and I am just not finding it in the companion now.
yeah. I don't think it's there. I think I looked and I don't.
Oh, here, no, page 80.
Oh, it's there. Cool. Let's see. Page 8
Gee whiz.
is here. Vehicles, hazardous terrain.
Oh, maybe I had the wrong.
Terrain.
Yeah, y'all got to tell me which one is. The numbers don't line up.
And the companion. You said it's page 80?
Landing in difficult terrain, 85. Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Landing in difficult terrain. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Oh my
All right. It's a 5. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The effect is applied to a 2. Okay, here we go. 2 die 6 minus 5. Basically, a crash.
Oh my God! Are
Oh
you
my
kidding me?
gosh.
So, everything was looking really great right up until the very last minute. Okay, so it was coming down. It's coming down on this kind of basalt dome, and it was coming, and just as you kind of got into the ground effect envelope, where the ship's kind of counter thrust was starting to kind of kick into ground effect, because it is a dense atmosphere after all. And then this kind of vast powder, all the little morsels of fungal spores that have kind of worked their way into it are blasted out, and there's this kind of blinding cloud that suddenly kind of starts to come out as you're kind of in that last envelope. And so, there's the Neil Armstrong moment where you cut thrust and you hope that you're going to land on solid ground, and the ground effect envelope kind of pushes it just to the side of the dome, and you land on an incline, and then the ship tumbles off of the dome and into the sand, doing a 180-degree rotation.
Okay.
This
mission just changed fundamental nature right now.
So, but we're belly up now.
I will roll, but it does at least 100. I had to explain why everyone was going to take damage.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so
you can all roll your own damage. 3, which is 3 dice.
Oh dear.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Does my back suit provide protection here?
Does the cloth armor? I don't know if it does. Yeah.
It depends.
Unless it is like acceleration, like armor that actually like
Oh, it just
armor.
says protection. That's all.
That sounds like no.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. No, watch at me. I'm gonna roll like 3 6s. Some kind of crap.
Yeah.
Does survival help me here, or is that more like survival in the wilderness?
Well, maybe in a little bit once the Lawrence of Arabia chapter starts.
Okay, yeah.
Ouch.
I took 10.
Oh, hey, I did better than you.
I took 9.
I took 8.
I got 9.
Yeah.
How many did Jose get?
8.
8. Okay, so I took the brunt of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got rough.
But now the ship takes 8d6.
Rolling now. Oh, it's very good, you guys. I'm gonna I'm gonna use my mirror to try and get my dice zone in here.
Yes, this is gonna be great.
Dear Lord.
And there's fingers.
And
there they are.
No, it's too small.
You can double click on
me. 2. I see a bunch of 2s.
Yeah, we're over
Yeah,
40.
it's pretty low.
Everything is 2s except a 5 and a 3 and a 1.
Yep. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing we hadn't been to Flaveria. We could say blame it on the other dudes.
That's a good one. Yes, that's excellent.
This is how we found it.
It said pick it up. It was banged up. It was horrible.
So Ludmila is unconscious in her acceleration couch.
It's probably best.
How much damage did the ship take in total?
Totaling 4, 10, 11,
Only had an
12,
endurance of 9.
13, 18.
18. Okay. So we got 22 whole points left. That's not too bad.
Now, for the roll of whether the ship is
right side up or
right side up or upside down.
Oh, Jesus.
Odds and evens.
Right side up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Way to stick the landing.
Whew.
There you go.
Well, any landing you
Told
can
you I
walk
knew I was
away
doing.
from, right?
All right.
That's
Right,
right.
Ludmilla?
Well, any sense, I'd let autopilot do it. But it would have still,
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to look at the medic rules and for the colonel to start breaking out, the
first aid kit, yeah.
the first aid kit.
I got a skill of 0 and education of +1.
Oh, this is not gonna go well for me.
And my TL10 Medikit gives me +1. So each
How much +2? You broke up there.
+2.
Okay.
+2 total. +2 total.
Total. Okay.
Each success, each effect, I think adds to the
Yes. You regain lost points equal to the effect. Because everybody should have taken those points off of endurance first. And if anybody ran out of endurance, then you take them off either strength or dex, your choice. And if any of those hit 0, then you're unconscious as well. So everybody's okay,
Make sure
right?
you have positive effect.
right. And I would go slow. There's no reason to take 1d minutes for each roll. Go slower
Nice.
because I'm a beginner. So that would give me a +4 and maybe. All right.
Hey.
So
Before we
who are you
bleed out,
starting with? Yeah.
all right, who's heard the worst?
I am
I-
with 10.
Actually, I guess
are
Ludmilla
you
said that-
unconscious? What's your
No, I'm
Is there-
conscious because I used to have 11 endurance.
Okay, I got 9 and I went down 8.
Oh,
Oh
Down
dear.
1.
So that's
All right,
our
so-
endurance is our.
hit points, yes, sir.
Okay, so I have 6.
So
prior
okay,
to
so
the roll,
So
and
if you got
you
hit
took
for 8, take 2
what,
of
8?
them off.
Yeah. You can take 2 either off of strength or dexterity. And if one of
okay.
those goes to 0, then you're unconscious.
Okay, nope, I'm good.
So first
All
aid
3 of
must
them.
be initiated within 1 minute of the injury.
1 minute?
Page 78.
Wow.
So,
then I won't
so
be
I
able to
guess
get to
you're
every-
only doing one person.
I will say the first aid must
Uh-huh.
be initiated within 1 minute of the injury. So you can administer it, you can roll for more than one person, possibly up to, I'd say maybe 2.
Okay.
But there
Where
would
was
be
he
no
at?
there would be no extra time. I
Okay,
think.
Right.
Doc.
He was in that gunnery bay.
All right. So I guess it would be. So 2 of you. And the ones hurt worst are Javier and then who?
I took 8.
Well, Jeff is definitely badly injured. Yeah.
All right. So let's do those 2. Going for Javier. Wow. 14. So you got 6 points back.
Oh, nice.
No, 12. 12. You got 4 points back. I'm sorry.
4 points back. Hey,
12.
it's better than having a 1 there. So
Okay, so then this is all taking place. The ship is kind of canted in kind of 2 different directions, wedged, kind of it's in the sand on one side and leaning against the basalt dome on the other side.
All right. And Jeff, you got 3 points back. I rolled a 9.
Okay,
2.
so that goes back to my strength first and then to my endurance.
I believe so.
Okay,
No, I think
believe so.
really.
or
I thought you
I
could
don't-
just
Or-
put
or-
It
them.
I
distributed
think maybe it's up
according to
to
your
you.
choice.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
but your new effective score is your new score, right? So
It
you
gives
got
you your new
penalties,
Yes.
DM, right? Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, you'd be rolling that as far as attributes and skill checks. And
Which
stuff.
is one critique that I have of the character sheet is that I think the attribute modifier table should be on the character sheet. Given
That is
I
true.
agree.
That is because it even accounts for a characteristic score of 0, so it contemplates you being
Mm-hmm.
0 endurance and then still having strength and dexterity, so you're still conscious. But if you have to make endurance checks, then you get that bad penalty. That's pretty good.
Okay, I'm still aware and
Alright.
cognizant or whatever, making my way back to getting up on the bridge and doing readouts for damage, etc.
Now the good news is that medical care. Obviously, I'm not going to do surgery, right?
Long-term medical care is 1d hours.
A traveler who has only 1 or 2 damage characteristics after first evidence restored to normal can benefit from medical care. 3 plus the traveler's endurance DM plus the doctor's medic skill in characteristic points per day. Divided evenly amongst. Oh, it requires a hospital, so forget that.
Or a
So,
sick bay, and you can believe every single
Yeah.
drug and bandage was already stripped out.
right.
Yeah.
So all we can get is natural healing. Injured traveler regains a number of characteristic points equal to 1d plus his DM per day of full.
1d plus his endurance DM per day? Is that what
A
you're
full
saying?
rest, yeah.
Okay.
At least we got here with plenty. We have time for at least
we
one.
got 2 days, right? So, but
Well,
we
I
gotta
gotta start repairing the
travel
ship
for 1
too.
day, right?
Well,
Yeah, y'all need to get out there, but I'm gonna have to start repairing the ship to be able to lift the sucker back off, according to whatever I find.
Yes,
from
you are. Son.
diagnostics.
Get to it.
Well, you might want to rest up. You might want to rest up, and we can repair the ship.
Well, suffice it to say, I mean, you can kind of get a lay of the land from a mechanics roll of difficulty 6, just to
Okay.
kind of figure out what's going on.
That's 8. So 2 effects.
All right. The turret was brought offline.
Oh, jeez.
So it's a severity 2 critical to the weapons, which is to say that the lasers are just disabled. The traverse on them is completely shot. But
So they're stationary
the
now.
good news is that the reactor's online. The jump drive looks okay. I mean, it's just a matter of kind of, can the ship
Right itself.
Yes.
For us to take off, because we don't have like cranes or, you know.
Hey, at least it's not up, belly up.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
Exactly.
Yeah, look at the bright side of life.
Basically a crash. I love the wording on it. Well, it's a landing, but it's basically a crash, right? And right above it says nature of the landing with quotation marks. I love it. It's a landing.
It was in fact a landing.
All right. So, now there's a question of the time of day, because this is a kind of a 14-day in the twilight envelope. You're very close to the sun side of the twilight envelope, where there's there's occasional periods of twilight, and very rarely is it ever in full darkness here. So it is.
Oh, because it is landlocked. I forgot.
It's a tidally locked planet.
Tidally locked. But it's so much pollen. I gather that they're not going to be able to see that far as as viewing. Am I right on that or what?
Well, this is. I mean, you're in a. Oh well, the spore cloud that's outside the ship. If you get out now, I mean, before that settles, that is a question.
At least it's gonna look like the ship has been crashed here for God knows how long. When the pirates arrive,
it's probably covered with sand. We already.
I know.
Yeah. Hey.
You wanted camouflage, man.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. Yeah.
So, what hatch is being egressed to kind of get a look at things in the lay of the land?
Either have the main airlock,
whichever one opens.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm imagining that you are. The main airlock is no. There's an obstruction warning on that one, as in it likely is wedged against the ground.
And we can't get the grav car out to use it.
No, the grav car goes out the back.
Yeah, and the back, yes. So and
Oh, I thought that's
it
what
does
he's
appear
saying.
that the main thrusters and the cargo bay and so on are pointing, butt up. So it looks like the nose of the ship is kind of wedged into the sand, and then the starboard side is kind of wedged into the cliff side, the basalt dome.
Gotcha.
All right. All right.
Ugh.
Maybe we should scan using that density meter and seeing how brittle the land is. I mean, if it's going to hold the ship up a little bit.
Well, really
Well,
wet, then.
but I guess that's the initial scan, right? So we know this is based on. This is why we picked the site, right?
Yeah. So the site itself, I mean, the basalt is very, very firm and hard and perfectly capable of supporting the ship. The dunes around it, not so much. Definitely sand.
So it's not a cliff because I was envisioning some kind of a.
I'm thinking like something like, I think Stone Mountain, like in Georgia, is the closest we have to kind of rock formation. But then just imagine there's just a bunch of sand around it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. She should be all right as long as the
So
wind grips are off.
How far are we by grav car from the site of the planned ambush? 1 day?
2 to 6 times 10 kilometers. 60 kilometers.
60 kilometers. So that's 36 miles.
Right.
It's not bad. Yeah.
I'm sure it will be bad going through a spore cloud. They're going to look like, So I'll keep the vac suit on me. Give him my vac suit back.
Yeah, I get it back.
You can go in your thong and.
I
was hoping to wear my environmental, but it's a thong party.
All right.
It's been a while.
All right, Marines, tell us what we need to do.
So it sounds like the ambush party is going to try and proceed to the campsite.
Well, we have 2 days. Yeah. We have
we-
2 days. So what?
Yeah, we gotta get some rest first, and then we can go.
Yeah,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
And if it's 36 miles, that's what? An hour tops?
Yes.
30,
Reasonably speaking, yeah.
if you're going slow, it's probably about an hour.
We wanna leave a couple hours before, so we. And I
All
still
I'm
have
saying-
to roll for the strategery that
Yeah,
Jeff and Roy
All I'm
did.
saying, it sounds like maybe we get 1 day's rest instead
Correct.
of 2. Right?
So then
Yeah.
we'll do the 1 day's rest. I will see if
That
Ludmila
was like Wayne's World.
comes to. She does.
So everybody, 1d6 plus endurance DM points back.
That's it. 1d6 minus 1. Yes. Okay. 3 more points.
Current endurance is 1.
Yeah, current endurance, right? So
Hey, I rolled a 6. Heck yeah. Plus 1.
So yeah, Ludmila, you're able to get her to drink from a straw. So I would not call it conscious. But
Okay.
But not dead.
Yeah.
We're like, who do we help first? And she's laying there. Good God.
Hey, this is like in my field. The primary endpoint is survival.
exactly. Just
The needs of the minute. Yeah. Oh, geez.
No, she's alive.
she's alive. That's
yeah,
always a
she's
bonus, right? It's always good.
All right. So I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna go ahead and roll for strategy 24 hours before.
Strategery.
Oh my goodness.
So it's 3D lose 1 plus 1. We got a grand bonus of plus 1, and that's a 3, a 4, and a 5. So that's 10.
Okay. I'm gonna show you where they camp.
We're gonna get a 100-meter target. Oh. What? Okay.
Huh.
So in a sheltered area around the dissected plateau,
Nice.
kind of sheltered
awesome.
on the leeward side of that sheltered plateau. They kind of have a campsite there. So this is not where the spores pile up. This is the opposite side.
Desert. So yeah.
So you can see like there's a mark where there was where they've kind of deployed their cooking generator, their campfire, and there's there's a few stakes which have been left, which sort of indicate where they've been here before. So you're able to pick it out from the satellite photographs that this is almost certainly where they've camped before.
Can we ascertain a tech level, or does she already know about what we're dealing with?
Oh,
from the off-worlders?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fully modern, right? They got access.
Yeah, they got a
yeah.
trader ship coming down, so you got to assume laser weapons and maybe rifles.
Oh, that's fine. I just just want to take it into account.
Would she have? Because there was talk that those guys were running guns, right? So do we know what kind of guns they were given to the natives? Because they got to have at least those guns or better. So
it was just weaponry, wasn't it? Like shields and.
No, that's what we brought. We don't know what
that's what we brought. We just brought primitive. It wasn't really guns. That's correct.
Well, that's what we brought. We don't know what.
We got to assure that we're pretty sure they got guns. So. About what we have. That's probably what they'll have.
Well, given the reputation of the Otari, specifically that, they think that if they challenge you in combat and win, then your stuff is forfeit. It stands
we think that about them too.
It stands to reason that these people probably do carry guns, against the army of spear wielding slimy guys.
Yeah, they challenge you. It's Indiana Jones, man.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get some desert ghillie suits or something to lay down and wait.
I think that the best place to attack him, that thing to the left, right?
To the
from above, right? That little cliff.
Upper left.
Yeah.
You mean take the high ground?
Yeah. Cannot beat me, Anakin. I have the high ground. But so it looks like that's a good place where we might have some cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be on the leeward side, right? So you're saying from the freestanding stones?
So the left side is windward. And to the right is
right.
Lee.
You can see the big mark in the middle shelter, right? They use the cliff to shelter from wind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So from up top there might be a good spot because you could have cover.
Oh, unless they run beneath the thing, but
I
guess it's set up.
Yeah, potentially we would. Ideally, we would have a line of fire that they wouldn't want to cross to get to that.
What about the center of the left side of the map? Is it an opening or a trail, or
that's a kind of a slot canyon which dissects the length of the small plateau.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a path, I think, to one of their goals, right?
They just take off to the arbitrary north.
All right.
Well, they're or probably arbitrary north or arbitrary east.
Yeah.
If you're wondering, it's sorry.
We're going to ascertain.
Arbitrary north is towards the dark side of the planet, and south is towards the hot side.
Okay.
We could probably expect them to land somewhere similar to where we have landed.
No, they have a landing site. It's on the other map.
Yeah, they come from. They've been
Oh.
walking a day to get here. They landed a day away.
Ah, gotcha. I gotcha. Okay.
That's
The operation is compartmentalized. Suffice it to say. All right.
I
So after a day's rest, it sounds like some people are going to the ambush, while others are going to remain and try for damage control.
That
I need to ask her. I can't remember her name. Is she going
Ludmilla.
with or what?
She hasn't come around.
Oh yeah,
my
she's still
God, she's
stalled.
still out.
Dragging through the stall. We got to get. Oh jeez. And she's just naturally healing.
Well, I don't like the idea of somebody staying behind, because the more people we have there, what if there's like 10 bandits or something? If it's if we send 2 guys,
As
even
long as
though
we
they're
make sure it's
Marines, but,
camouflage. There's no counter. I mean, no measures on the
Satellite
ship.
photographs have shown that they travel in a 6-man grav car,
right.
and that's what is known.
Right. There's about up to 12 in the ship. 10 to 12 in the ship is what we were thinking, and then the 6-man
there's
grav car.
6 in the car. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they, if we can camouflage and they don't see our ship, we leave her in it, and like I said, try to camouflage it. Hopefully it is.
The ship looks like a wreck, at least. So.
Yeah.
looks like ruins.
It should be covered.
Ruins they may have missed.
It's
Just saying we
partially
have-
covered, at least. They're going to see it. But hopefully, since it looks like it crashed, because we did crash, they might assume that it's just a wreckage, right? So maybe a ship crashed in there.
Yeah, our only hope is that they don't take it as wreckage that needs salvaging.
That's true. That
They
is.
probably-
Yeah,
the
if
thing
one of us stays there, maybe I can radio or
Well,
whoever's staying.
that's fine. Sure. If you want to stay, that's cool. Yeah.
No, well, I'm saying if I see them pass, I could scan the area and let y'all know how many are coming in. It'd be almost like a scout, and even follow up behind them as they approach the cannons. So
But
give you some
when you
recon.
say follow up behind them, what are you talking about? Are you like in a ship? All we have is the grav car and the ship.
Yeah, you're right. But you said they were walking though to that place for a day.
No, they're going in a grav car.
They're going in a grab car. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I guess-
they drive for hundreds of miles in the grav. It's like the walk part, I think, is to indicate that it is a long journey, indicating a camp.
Okay, so a bicycle right there would work. Gotcha. All right. In the comm system, I couldn't be able to touch with y'all. I don't think.
Yeah, and we should hide our grav car somewhere
Right.
in those rocks, right beneath the leeward side of some rocks outside the camp, right? Not in the camp, but.
All right. How many guns do we have available?
I got a stunner and a combat rifle.
I
Yeah, we
have
need
an
to-
assault an advanced combat rifle and an auto pistol.
Right. Got my rifle and my pistol.
All right. I just
Do you have
one.
a regular rifle, Jose?
Gauss.
Ghost rifle, okay. I have a rifle and a stunner. My advanced combat rifle and a stunner.
Yeah, I just got a antique combat rifle from the Vietnam era. From my great grandfather Cord.
Yeah.
Now, what weapon do you have?
It's 17,000 years old, but it's from Vietnam. Yeah.
It's a blood wet.
It's
Yeah,
been handed down through through the family.
more of a keepsake. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's like, no, seriously, will you have an assault rifle?
Plastic on those M16s really held up.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, in $1,000.
I had
No,
to go
I
for
mean-
the dig. Sorry.
No, it's
All right. So, to tune this all in, I think you guys are thinking about passing the guns out and so on, and kind of setting up where the positions are going to be. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. The question I think is first about a survival endurance roll crossing the desert in the grav car.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
great.
Survival endurance. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a plus. So I nail
Does an
out.
environment suit help with any of
It does. It will grant you a boon.
Environment or vet? Well,
No, an
Yeah,
environment
yeah.
suit. I don't have a because that's too expensive.
ah,
If you
okay.
got survival skill, maybe you can.
Yeah,
I do.
I cancel. Oh, okay. I was gonna say for mine, my cancels out my
ain't got
endurance.
What's your current?
And it's
What's
what,
your
an
endurance
8?
currently though?
My endurance is currently
Yeah,
a -1.
it's 8. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, and the target number is an 8.
Yeah.
Oh
Ooh,
Jesus!
here we
Thank
go.
God! I rolled a 1, a 2, and a 5.
Oh, we're rolling
Plus
3 for
1
this.
is 8. God.
We're rolling 3 for this.
Only if one has an environment suit or some other kind of
Oh, okay.
Moonworthy.
Fremen gear. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a 7. I don't have an 8.
I got it back. I'm about to roll it.
6.
Jesus.
Okay. So
You bastard D6s.
Uh-huh.
I rolled a 7.
all right. For the first hours after arriving at the ambush site, the people with the 7, with just the miss by 1 result, have some level of fatigue, for a -2 on physical activity. Everybody else that missed by more has a -2 to anything involving endurance after that 2-hour window.
My endurance was 8. Is that a +1 the roll or?
8 is a 0 modifier.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. 9 is where it goes up.
So
by
it's
1.
7. Yeah. All right. So -2.
Okay, so you're saying a -2 for endurance checks.
Pretty much
After
for the
the-
rest of the day or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the ones who made it by 7, it just applies for a time and then it goes away, right?
This is correct.
Okay. Yeah, yours persists, basically. Is what
Ah.
you
Okay.
Yeah,
Yippee!
You're one with the fatigue.
Yeah, I need a nap.
We all need a nap because we're all hurt. But
So yeah, once you find your way into some shade at the ambush, then that's things start to get into better shape.
Cool.
All
All
right.
right.
So I think this is a matter of kind of playing a waiting game now, because there's so if I read correctly, you brought Ludmila with you in the grav car.
No, I think
she's
we left
still
her there,
zonked out. I don't know.
sucking through a straw. Yeah, we left her there.
Okay.
I mean, I hate to say it, but we did. Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Especially with your reaction, I really hate to say it.
Just checking. I will tell you that her computer actually flags and says my owner is in medical danger. Please connect me to her. Please connect me to her. And
we would have done that.
It seems like it has some ability to chaperone someone who's injured. But how far that goes is, she's the woman with the $1 million computer.
The $1 million computer.
The mega credit computer.
The 6 million. Yeah.
All right. So I think that it's down to, first of all, a survival roll. With intellect. So somebody needs to kind of plan out the waiting game, because you don't know how long you're going to be waiting here. Because their jump is, wibbly wobbly too.
Okay.
Yeah. Only get an elective died.
We played this wrong. We should have waited on the ship until we got signals of them coming.
Well, anybody got any beef jerky? You could probably, I mean,
you don't want to take off your breath mask to chew on the jerky.
You're right.
Not here.
Yeah, we should have kind of waited until we saw the ship coming down and then set out. We still ahead of them, right?
Okay, so it's a survival check for the whole team.
It is, yeah.
Can we use a boon? Just lobbying for that?
I believe, does more than one person have a survival at +1 or higher?
I have at 1.
Me too.
I have it at 1.
Then there is a boon, yes.
Oh, there's a boon.
All right. So it's survival intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got a 0 in a 0 DM. Anybody has more?
I've got a +2 DM.
I got a +1 because it's your skill plus your intelligence. But some people have penalties to their intelligence. So
this is true.
This is true. And
So
I unfortunately have another 7. So
okay, so with the boon just gives us a +1.
Just no, it gives you an extra die.
Yeah, you roll 3 die.
It's like advantage. Roll 3 die, keep the best 2.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, great. 2 of them are the same.
Exactly. That's what
I got
happened
9.
to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I miss it. I rolled a 7.
All right.
But was it 1 for the whole team or?
It's for the team, and I'll just summarize.
Oh, there was 1 roll.
Yeah, okay. I'll summarize from Maynard's. You find you do find a small artesian well, which seems to actually have it's been cached. So there's actually a 55-gallon drum that kind of is on a little drip well that they've placed here.
Nice.
With some water. The water is it's not filtered, and it's got, it certainly has a lot of spores in it. But it is water, and you can, at the very least, cool yourselves with it.
Let's see. I got. Where is it? Jeez, this isn't very helpful. I know that I got something that could help. I bought like something credit, something that has some water purifiers.
Yeah, Jose was skipping.
So Seb breaking up for
He was a
else.
bit. Yeah. I couldn't tell if it was noise gate or.
Can you hear me?
We can. I think it might be just noise gate because you were in a thinking mode. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, I think I paid there was a really cheap survival thingy. Something really cheap.
Okay, then we will.
Let me make sure. I don't want to.
All
right. Let's see. I'm checking here.
I found it interesting that the equipment is in the central supply catalog. It gives a serial number, but the first 2 digits is the chapter, which is great. It's like the rifle 11/400 something 11/ and then a string of numbers. So at least it's in chapter 11. So I think that's great.
So survival gear. Let's see here. There was something. Okay. Where is it that
survival gear and supplies?
Yeah, it's like a little survival kit. Here we go. For 50 credit. That's why I took it.
Awesome.
A small backward belt pack containing personal survival equipment, small knife, fire equipment, blanket, poncho, 4 days rations, water bottle, compass light, and water purification tablets.
Oh, I almost said that, Bo.
Okay.
I almost said tablets.
So the tablets, I'm gonna go ahead and say that they might, they are
At
high
least
tech.
lower the count, if not eliminated, right?
Maybe they actually have like an isotope, like they actually irradiate the water, and then you kind of precipitate the irradiant back out of the water and filter it out, and then you wait for the tritium to boil off.
Like you do.
It's future water purification tablets.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that you probably are able to get like maybe a pint of drinkable water out of that, plus whatever y'all bought. The ship, of course, has you were each able to easily take a gallon or two from the ship when you departed.
Yeah.
So that I think that it comes down to do we want to cut with kind of a recon roll to kind of figure out how the ambush begins?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
so suffice to say, nobody improves from whatever kind of heat stroke situation they were in.
Okay.
Nobody gets worse. Nobody gets better.
No, can we? Hopefully, we can get surprised. Hopefully.
This is what the recon roll.
This is what we're going to determine.
All right. So the smugglers I announced they're coming, kind of brazenly traveling at something like 100 kilometers an hour or more on the nap of the earth, spewing a plume of dust and spores behind them across the desert. About 21 hours after you first arrive at the plateau. You see they're coming from, the horizon, essentially. It is the twilight hour, and so the sun is low in the sky, and casting long shadows, which is probably the best you could hope for. They're driving, hell-bent for leather, and it's a closed top grav car. It seems pretty nondescript. I think it might be an air raft that has like a convertible top on it, actually, as you start to see it approach closer. It's maybe a kilometer off now. They're starting to slow down.
We've got our grav car hid, right?
You do.
Right.
It's a contested roll whether someone will spot it, if that comes to pass. So we will roll that as it occurs.
I mean, if we need to assume positions,
it is that time. It has been.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Let us know where to get, guys.
Well, we can. I mean, I think we can. We'll probably start with combat next time. This seem wise? Okay. So I think the question comes down to the recon
I don't know
roll.
how wise it is,
but well, yeah, I mean, I think that, the question is whether y'all will have the decision of it will be up to you whether you want to start shooting or whether things will happen otherwise. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a boon die for the recon roll.
I was going to say I would lobby for a boon die because we've been here for a day at least, right?
You're quite prepared. You have the
now.
Satellite photographs. Yeah. You know a lot of things. And so yeah, it's an 8.
I got to read, and that's an int, right?
It is.
So I have a total of DM +1 from my skill and low normal intelligence. Anybody else have more than a DM1 on recon?
Not me.
Nope. I think you're the man for this job.
Actually, it's funny because I was a Star Marine. Recon is not on my regular list, but one of the life events was some sort of assault. So
Nice.
So he was actually a ground pounder for a turn.
Yeah.
Oh wow, 6, 1, and 5. So that's 12 total.
Yes.
Dropping the 1 and getting it back.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Thanks for the boon.
That is,
we would have been screwed.
that is enough effect that they are they've split up. One to walk the perimeter. One of them's going to the water cache. They're unloading the ship, and one of them's going to the water cache. One of them's going to walk around the perimeter. 2 of them are setting up a tent. And it looks like there's 4 of them.
Nice.
Outstanding.
Excellent. All right. Is our guy there? Do we spot our guy? Do we know what our guy looks like?
You do, thankfully. Ludmila did in fact share some imagery with the Colonel.
Right.
I think that's best.
Yeah, but I would argue that if we're all going on this operation, they would have shown us the photo of the guy. You're not supposed to kill.
Yeah. Don't shoot
right?
this guy.
Don't shoot this guy. Shoot the rest of them.
Even if you don't see the photo, because he can tell you it's that guy over the comm, right? So I mean, this is complicated. Yeah. The guy in the red shirt, whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking one of the red shirt, man.
Spies are not always immaculate with their tradecraft either.
Right.
Spies make mistakes too.
Yeah.
Wow, this was interesting.
Excellent.
Did not. You see how a bad die roll.
I'm gonna have to see how many times I listened to Lawyers, Guns, and Money this week.
It's interesting because it looks like the boon is kind of like a +3 or a +4, sort of what I was reading.
Kind of
effectively,
but things can still go horribly wrong.
Oh, it can swing. Yeah, it's swingier than advantage.
Yeah.
And,
well,
yeah,
like
an advantage in DMD is a +5, right? An advantage in DMD is like a +5 statistically, like a +3, +4.
But that's statistically too. You could roll 2 1s, so
right.
Advantage. So
Well, this is the thing that I really like about it. Actually, is that the assist is the boon. So it's like, okay, two people are at risk for the effect. So if you roll a terrible effect, if you roll 3 1s, then both guys are gonna suffer the consequences.
That's true. That's true. That's true. You assist, you're involved in the consequences. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why I get nervous about a pilot with a ship. Like even landing that thing, all of us suffered.
Del, you rolled a 3, man.
Oh, I know, but
you could have had freaking Han Solo flying the ship. He would have smacked that rock. Okay,
right.
It was a 3.
I know, but it affected everybody on the ship. You know what I mean? That meta character is like, bam.
I don't know, Eloy. I think Han Solo would have a Dex DM of +1. He would have made it with a +3.
Oh, yeah.
With a 3. Because he would have had a +5 DM.
That's true. Yeah, well, we're starting. We're first level characters, right?
No. Now, if Han Solo rolled a 2, then he would have screwed too.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah. I'm going to be able to maybe get through this fight, and that's it. I'm not joking. My strength is down to 8. My endurance is at 3.
Yeah.
My dex 8. My intellect was already at 5. Education at 4. I'm going to look pretty, but I'm going to die.
What's your social at again?
12.
Oh,
if you could beg for mercy. Yeah.
You'll have a very nice funeral with nobles on it, and
I'm not smiling like people go, oh, he looks so great for getting obliterated.
Come on, we'll be able to ambush.
I'm an innocent bystander.
I mean, we can really screw up that tactics roll, but I think we have a +6 and they have -6 or something like that.
But this is the interesting part where the old school rules come in, right? Because we just freaking crashed the ship. Now this had good effects and bad effects. On the plot side, it looks like a ship crashed, right? So it's sort of camouflaged the ship.
Well, you did, yeah. You did choose to land it in the impossible to camouflage location.
Exactly. So,
but we managed to camouflage it.
Yeah.
Dell
the
is
landing.
a rock star, man.
But also, it also had the side effect of knocking Ludmilla out. So I don't know what that's going to mean. I'm just saying, like, one die roll completely changed the landscape here, right? So it could have just turned into a rescue mission, right? Because it could have been.
And quite literally.
Yeah.
It changed the landscape.
So this is the second time that I've surrendered myself to the dice. I mean, the first time was rolling the ships in Bowman. Like what was in Bowman, and I just said like what is there, and I rolled on the tables, and I said okay, all right. There's a lab ship. Oh, all right, okay.
But this defies all concept of storytelling because the mission could have been scrapped, right? We just managed to make enough. Avoid enough damage so that because the ship had been wrecked. This is no longer an ambush mission to get the spy we would have had to go straight for the free trader and steal the ship.
I've heard the nervous laughter. I did.
I want to make a point here. I've been playing in this game. What is it for like 4 or 5 sessions now?
Mm-hmm.
And I know people's been added to it and stuff. But this and everybody's really into it. And what's crazy is there hasn't been one battle. We're about to face the first one. So everybody's really riveted.
My philosophy is the threat of combat, the earnest threat of combat.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, there was that space bar session, and I've taken responsibility for it.
Despite it being this, which is
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yeah. I'm finding myself quite intrigued.
Oh, but the rules I'm pleased.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a good system.
So far, so good.
And
Definitely.
it's space.
In space.
All right. I'm gonna go see if my wife's still up for an episode of Poldark here. He's such a bad guy. You should watch Poldark with your wife, guys. It's excellent.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, everybody.